Hey, Coach, before we talk about this week, you guys rolled again last week, and a really solid win for you guys, and you just played some good football.
Yes, sir. I think our guys played really well. I think Cameron Pertha had a fantastic game. He had 2 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown. I think he 7 or 8 tackles and 2 sacks. I mean, he was all over the field. He had about the best senior night I think a senior could have, and I felt like Owen did a great job, and Mason ran well, and offensive and defensive lines played pretty well. Tri has some big kids and physical kids, and they fought, man. They're fighters, and the coach is doing a great job with them. Once they get things figured out, they're going to be really tough. So I'm not looking forward to playing them down the road. But I do think that I think that we just kind of played well. Things were clicking, and we fumbled the ball right off the bat going down the field, and that could have gotten the kids down, and we just reloaded and went on to the next play, and I was really proud of how they reacted to that.
When you mentioned Pertha and his emotions last week, when I talked to him about senior night, and you could just tell that passion he had. He doesn't want this thing to end.
Oh yeah, and I tell you, he's quite possibly one of the smartest kids I've ever coached. He understands everything about everything that everyone's doing. If he were 6'5", he'd be a great quarterback, and But he's tough and he's physical and he plays much bigger than his body is, and he could probably run the whole defense by himself. If a coach gets sick or something, they're like, just have Pertha run it, So he's the real deal. We're going to miss him greatly, and I don't want to lose him, so we're going to try to keep this thing going as long as we can.
Well, Coach, this week, and we kind of saw this, and I was alluding to it maybe a couple of weeks ago, if everything went according to plan, you have a showdown that this week is about as big as any in the state.
Yeah, it's a big showdown. I mean, Centerville's a 2A school, and they're playing well. We watched them all summer, and we talked about them all summer. Coach Padgett's getting their mentality, in the right direction, and trying to build a culture there of winning again, and that's good. And really, it's been good for us because it gave us a chance to really talk about our culture too, and the culture that's been here for a long time, and how culture holds each other accountable, and culture sticks together, and culture has high expectations for everybody, and he's trying to develop that, and I think he's doing a good job, and I think they're buying in. Their school seems to be buying in, community seems to be buying in, and so it's going to be a lot of fun in a hostile environment, and it'll give us a chance to play a big game where it's going to be loud, and we'll have to signal in calls rather than yell them in, and we're just kind of trying to cover all our bases, make sure we don't get surprised by anything. But you never know what they're going to do. They might come out and do something else. And so we just got to be fundamental. And really that's what we're focusing on this week, just getting better at fundamentals. And if we're one step better than we were last week, whatever the outcome of the game, I'll feel good about it.
They do run the ball extremely well. Talk about that running attack. And when you see it on film and you see it in person, it is kind of daunting because they can really run the football, and they got those big guys up front.
Yeah, and it kind of seems like the first play they'll get stuffed, and the next play they bust a long run. And they've had a lot of I guess I should say they've created their own luck in a lot of situations, pick sixes and, kick returns for touchdowns and busting big runs by just getting the edge. And their linemen block hard, and they're physical kids. They know what they're doing. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be physical on both sides of the ball. And, Owen said it best this week, when we after we beat Tri, I got a text at about 11 o'clock at night that said, Coach, this is the physical game we've been waiting for, so let's go get good after it this week. And I think that's the attitude they've brought into practice this week.
I think maybe when I look at them, I'm a little bit surprised how good their defense has been this year. What do you see in that defense?
Well, they fly to the football, and they've got a little more speed back there than they've had. And they tackle well, they tackle low, and they come up and hit. They're not, they're more physical than they were last year, but last year I felt like they were physical, and they're faster and understand their assignments well. I mean, clearly they're studying, and so it's going to be a challenge as calling plays, to try to figure out what'll work for us. And back to the offensive side of the ball, I think something we haven't seen yet is their quarterback. I think the kid can throw the ball. I watched him in middle school throwing the ball. He's got a great arm, and so that is always something that we need to be prepared for as well. So on top of the run game, he's a good kid too. He's a good athlete, and so we have to make sure we keep an eye on him and contain him, and just got to have a good game plan. We'll put our plan together, they put theirs together, and we'll see see who can adjust and make it work. I think we have to focus on hanging on to the football and winning the turnover battle. I think special teams are really big this week, and we've been spending a lot of time focusing on those details, and so it's just going to be. I think the game's won Monday through Thursday anyway. So Friday, we'll just line it up and see how it works out.
It seems like to me, and just watching you guys today and talking to a couple of the kids, there's no rah stuff. Let's go out and get the job done, right?
Yeah, we're trying to stay focused on 1 week at a time. And last week, they were wanting a little bit. A couple kids were wanting to talk a little bit about Centerville, but they quickly just held each other accountable and said, "What are we doing? We got a game to win this week. It doesn't matter what happens if we don't win this week." And so they're focusing really well on Centerville now. They got together and watched film a couple of times on their own, at other kids' houses and stuff. And I just think that they're focused. We needed a game like this because it'll get us focused. It's good leading in, getting closer to tournament time, that we have a big environment to play in. I know whenever we go to Centerville, it's loud. And so we have, we've got to take care of our plans for that. And their fans are going crazy. And I guess now we're taking a fan bus, so it ought to be interesting too. And it'll be fun. It'll be a good, good little rivalry there. And I'm excited to see how it works out.